Hello, good morning. My name is Paul-Esupofo Oriade. How are you today? I hope you have a wonderful time. Yes. New Year started. Don't forget today is 4 already. 4. You'll be amazed that before you know it, is another day, is another month, is another time. It will surprise you really to know that this year is counting again. 4 days. Today is the 4th day. In the continuation of what we have, please go ahead and invite people. Go ahead and invite friends and families, the media lovers. Please go ahead and invite them, and let's have a wonderful time this morning. Go ahead and invite them. So we're still on this book, Dapo Adelugba, on the theater practice in Nigeria. I told you this book has really been wonderful. This book has really been wonderful. The professor done Izaboye, Bowen University, Wo, Nigeria, says something about this. We say a review of professional and academic achievement. The questioning at this interview unfold as a genuine inquiry into knowledge by its probing and its revelation. That's a very good thing. That then was Dr. Ademola da Silva, now Professor Ademola da Silva, and the question was so much wonderful. Yesterday we talked about the good thing that Wole Soyinka was doing, and Soyinka, for example, is a creative even in his criticism. We talk about being serialized, things being serialized. We talk about that. We talk about the natural selection from accidental variation. We talk about that, and went on to went slightly back to Renaissance of the mid themes, and then talk about the second lecture what he had and all that. So we stopped at when he was talking about the future of the heart. When he talked about the future of the heart, and then he discussed different things of the heart that he mentioned yesterday, tape to tape, the secondary old aura in cellular thing we have to talk about this morning, and I will repeat a bit so that we can get some wonderful thing this morning. So please invite people. Let's go invite people. All right, so let's go to the next question. What are the lessons that theater arts are specifically for mankind? What are the lessons that theater arts for specifically for mankind? That's what we're going to stop and continue this morning. They are the lessons of the centrality of order. The lesson to learn is that Adelugba responded and said they are the lessons of centrality of order, cooperation, open-mindedness, and collaboration. Centrality of order, cooperation, open-mindedness, and collaboration. By the grace of God, we'll be talking about ethics in ministry, but I want to really adopt something later, law and order, which DSA teaches recently, and I love that teaching because I felt that I would rather introduce it, I would rather talk about it to leaders who believe, a lot of things. There's like recently, you see my post on what do we call it? On the registration, and people are talking, and I saw a lot of people talking, a lot of people coming and commenting and all that, and said for the sake of the kingdom and new Nigeria. Because why do I say that? Because I believe, I won't deceive you, I believe that many of us, we don't even know the law, because there is no law in existence. Because any law that cannot be activated, I think that law is not in existence. Yes or no? Yes or no, sir? That law is not in existence. So the same thing we have. That law is not in existence, but we just have to put a lot of things in place to make sure that it's good. All right. So that's by the way. So you can now know that the centrality of order. When you have order, you do things rightly. That's the meaning of that. You do things rightly. You embrace things. You do it according to what the Lord has given to you as an intake and all that. So let's go. Continue. Indeed, John Millington, Millington, Synge, Synge, was right when he said, all art is collaboration. I believe so much in that. All art is collaboration. Now, when all art is collaboration, now when one turns to Shakespeare's example, one discover how the art, in spite of their seeming smallness, excuse me, have taught a lesson to mankind. I ended my theater art and mankind lecture by arguing that in the 21st century, it is hoped that the lesson learned in the 20th century will be carried forward, especially in the area of use of technology and science. I've said this before, and I said I'm going to write a book by the grace of God. Camera is not born again. Camera is not born again. All right. So science and technology. All right. So science and technology with art connect. Okay. For the development of the theater art, I said the use of technology of science for development of the theater art. In the second part of my lecture, I looked at the four parts of Africa. I looked away from the old cliché, and I said that my view of theater in Africa will embrace North Africa, West Africa, East Africa, and South Africa. That make a balance in that particular lecture. I took time off to examine the work done on art of North Africa, to examine the tradition of Arabic drama. I don't think any of you have had Arabic drama before. Many of you have only heard about Christian drama. There is Arabic drama, all right? There's Arabic drama, which is the language, right? All right. The tradition of South African drama were particularly stressed because of the apartheid problem, and it seems to me that the South African really had the South African theater. This was perhaps the pinnacle of the theater arts movement in Africa. Would on the long run serve as an exemplar and perhaps a great lesson to other parts of Africa, and that is becoming more and more the case today. In the lecture on theater art in Africa, I discussed broadly the problem of language and how we must continue to encourage indigenous languages. We should perhaps pay more attention to the internationality of communication when we are dealing with the area of English, French, and other so-called world languages. And that is not enough to take the complacent view that we are only communicating with Nigerians or with Ghanaians or with Sierra Leoneans. If we must use English, then we must use it in a way that it will be intelligible across geographical frontiers. And that's one of the things. In fact, anytime I finish class, my wife will say, work on this area of your English, work on this part of the English, okay? Because I don't know, I am so sure I may not be able to say this exact place that this video, this broadcast, this class will reach. It will reach so many parts of the world, and when they are getting and say, what is this saying? We can't get what it's saying. So I have to develop myself, work on myself, work on my English, and work on so many things and say, okay, these are the things I need to work on seriously, really seriously worked on, and I say, okay, let me see what I can get to develop myself. So if we use English, then we should use it in a way that to be intelligible across geographical frontier. I of course pay tribute to the work that had been done on theater in the indigenous languages, and the argument was that indeed it seems to me that the direction for the future will be more and more work in the indigenous languages. I argue that those who have difficulties with Wole Soyinka and with his perspective will probably have had no problem if this work could be rendered in the indigenous languages. If Soyinka could be reviewed, in its true essence, perhaps a step forward would have been taken. Indeed, the case is for theater in the indigenous language, whether as original work or as translation. If you discover at the beginning, I talk about this traditional theater because that's the first time I'll be talking about that, because before now, I have known, okay, the theater starts from this perspective and all that. Excuse me. All right. So, you just have to do something. Excuse me. The weather here is changing, seriously. Okay. So, my son is laughing. You just have to look at all those areas and see indeed what Wole Soyinka has done. But if you have done indigenous language, whether it's original or work translated, and I always say something, you just have to do what is needed to be done. You just have to do what is expected of you to be done, and you'll be able to get some things. In the third part of the lecture, you discuss the future of theater art, taking the serious art form that comprise theater art one by one. I began with the discussion of dance art, which I consider the prima donna of theater art, which indeed is 25,000 years old. at that time. So it's over 25 years now. It was my view, and it's still my view, that we should aim at greater interculturalism and greater multiculturalism as the years go by. In the area of dance, not many people, in fact, in church today, even when they say somebody's dance drama, you know, it looks absurd to them. What is it dancing on? You know, dance, of course, we continue to retain its ethnic identity, but more and more, there is going to be intercultural collaboration, and the more we understand the cultural basis of what we are borrowing from, the better we are. I talk about the ascendancy of dance as a prima art, as indeed a pivotal art in the American context, and it's perhaps is a reaction to the fact that the non-literary and the non-verbal art are once again coming to the force, as opposed African American and other world dance traditions. You know, you have salsa, you have a lot of things, and that seems to me the trend now. Besides studies in dance are now taking account of gender. People are talking about dance and women, and the article which I used to illustrate this point was that of one Professor Asante in a new, that must be a Ghanaian, Professor Asante, in a new feminist journal which has started to come out of Black America in recent years. In this interculturalism, that the future of the dance art, in my view, lies. All right, national and ethnic dances will be we have to redefine and reevaluate themselves and their culture in the 21st century. And the same we go for music art in general, and music in the theater in particular. All right, I went on to discuss music and international trends, having discussed ethnic, national, and international theater, and having discussed music art. I went on in that final lecture to discuss speech and oral art. When I was talking about speech art, somebody was just like, "Brother Paul just created something." I did not just created it. I've done my research when I said speech art and oral art, because those are the things, paying attention, like I said, paying attention to the importance of speech on the stage, and speech in the media of radio and television, the media of radio, television, video, and film. So when I have a course, when I call it speech art, I actually mean speech art. I give you speech and oral art. You know, in our training school, we always bring, recently we're going to bring our sister Bamitale, Bunmi Bamitale, to come and lecture us on that, because now it's becoming an icon of Fluency. They have a company called Fluency and all that. They're doing well and all that. You know, I said, well, I don't want all the Fluency alone. I want this speech art. I want this speech and oral art. That's what I need, because we have people can pay attention when you're saying something on the internet. Say something here. That's how you see me say dictionary. He says it's not dictionary, it's dictionary. You know, it's not glory, it's not Gloria, it is Gloria, it's Gloria. And everybody say Gloria, we are glorious, and say no, it's glorious. You know, you just have to understand it. It's not because of you, it's because of many people that will be listening to you afterwards, or listening to you with your film, your drama, your stage. They will be able to connect with you when you're saying something. So Professor Adelugba continued, said, I went on to discuss music and international trends. Having discussed ethnic, national, international theater, and having discussed music art, I went on to that one to talk about it. And he said, I said that perhaps more energy is needed for the former, that is performance on stage, than for the latter, which is performance for the media. I went on again to illustrate my point about speech and oral art by quoting from John Millington Sage, who had praised for community whose lives were not yet short on poetry, and he said that for a few years more, the Irish society could still reach down to the grassroots. And I'm saying that for Africa, for a few years more, we might as well have to pay attention to the need for a recording of our art, oral art treasury, because as someone once said, for every old man that dies in Africa, a great library dies with him. I believe so much. Let me pause on that. I believe so much in that. I won't deceive you. I believe so much in that. I believe so much. I won't deceive you, because that is why it's always good to give out. For over 1 year now, I've been giving out every day, coming on the internet to teach every day. Yet I have not been able to exhaust what I have in me. In fact, I've not even been able to. In fact, sometimes I look at myself and say, wow. Sometimes I have to go, okay, these are the things I've read. Don't let me just turn it to my own self alone. Let me, okay, let me quote, let them hear those people speak. This man is not alive again. And I said, when I finish this book, I'm still going to play you other videos. I have about 2 other videos that will give like a reprise to whatever I've said. And that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Now, that is the thing. Then I went on this issue of speech and oral art to discuss the need for the preservation as much as possible of primary orality. But the need for a recognition of what is now known as secondary orality, the recording of the old orality art in celluloid. In celluloid, you know celluloid? I've told you about celluloid. In video tapes and audio tapes and so on. But all these things are really, really old now. They're changed to digital thing now. And secondary orality is an area where America may be ahead of and may surpass many of us if we do not start similar research here at the home front on the African continent. A time may come when there will be more recording of African oral art in America than here in Africa. It's already started. The prediction of this man has already started. It's already happening. And that's a bad thing, because I told you in one of the broadcasts that they are not sending Oyibos. They are sending white people to come and learn our language, where people that are born in Nigeria, they don't understand Yoruba, they cannot speak Yoruba, they cannot speak their, even their dialect, they cannot speak in Benin, they cannot speak in their dialects and all that. That's really, really challenging. Really challenging. I won't deceive you. It's really challenging. And that is why our son understand 2 languages. I don't know what, maybe in the school one of the teachers just said something maybe in Yoruba and the boy understood it, and maybe she thought he won't understand it, and maybe I don't know how she said it, but she said something and King was so moody, and I said, King, what happened? She said something, you know. And because as we are speaking English, we're also speaking Yoruba, then we say, what is the meaning of this one? We explain to him, oh, this is the meaning of what we said. Oh, what do you mean of this? We say, this is the meaning of what we said. This is the meaning of what we said. So that he will not just grow up without not understand. How come I understand my language? How come? That's not all the schools many of us have gone to, we still understand our language. Well, how come? Then why can't we pass the same legacy back to our children? So we need to understand that it will not go to be a time that it will be so much rampant on the street and everywhere that we will be doing that, and people will be wondering and say, what exactly is that? All right, do you get it now? So let's go. Now, they said the original content will lay claim, and that's the problem. Let me be sincere with you. Let me just read something before you can get it now. If we do not start similar research here on the home front on the African continent, a time may come when there could be more recording of African oral art in America than here in Africa, the original continent that lays claim to orality itself. However, I'm not saying that there are no oral art in America or other continents. I'm saying rather that our own African oral art still have pride of place. I'm telling you, I believe too, which we should not, of any reason, concede to other people. John Milton again comes up with the consideration in the preface of one of his plays, in which he said, every good speech should be as fully flavored as a nut or an apple. Every good speech should be as fully flavored as a nut or an apple. End of quote. etc. I lay particular stress on the visual arts as related to theater art, theater choreography, and theater technology. I said that as we have discussed more and more in the late 20th century, because those are the things that people need to pay attention to. People really need to know, people really need to understand why those things are there in the 20th century. We are likely to have the 21st century and beyond new forms and new perspective of new vision. Look at when this man said he was able to project what is going on right now, because there is no Facebook Live. If Facebook Live had been that time, maybe some of them would have done their lecture on Facebook Live in the class and all that, but it's not there. Maybe some of the Periscope Live is not there, in YouTube Live is not there. A lot of things were not there in their generation. They were able to do more. And they're able to do research more. They're able to do a lot of things, and this is awesome. I won't deceive you. This is awesome. I also talk about the barrenness of the austerity of modern architecture. has been perhaps the guide towards future art. The art is going to become more austere and fundamental and more geometrically defined. That there will be new austere traditions in place of the elaborate structure of old and all that. They will all become things of the past. Modern art is becoming more and more quintessential. And I believe that this is the direction in which we will be going in the 21st century. The utilization of theater spaces. These are a very good thing. These are beauty of it. Utilization of theater spaces ironically gives delight to those who feel the world is going to shrink more and more. It looks like theater arts are now looking for larger and larger expanses. People are drifting away from old restrictive spaces. People are breaking away from the use of congested spaces. People are embracing large field for performance, large structures, large factories. And I will say that those who think that we should catch up with the West in the area of technology should not forget the beauty of traditional technology. I got it. Because anytime you are doing a film now, you are just showing something traditional. People pay more attention, especially when you are using old radio, or you're using old radio, old transistor, or let's say like kind of TV I have here now is a 4x3. You're so, wow, in this generation, this TV is still existing. You just be laughing and say wow. So this so you don't look at it, but everybody's using 16:9. Everybody's using plasma. Everybody's using flat screen and all those, because those are the beauty. Those are the beauty of what we do. All right. So traditional technology cannot, but I can only put those things in museum. If I have my way, put those things in museum, so that anytime we need it, just clean it up and come and use it. Then I went on to the future of the theater art in the area of electronic media, and I said that radio will continue to be the most dominant of all electronic forms, perhaps because of economy and social factors, and in the spite of the glamour of the television and video. Radio is still the most popular among the current media of theater art. But right now, I tell you, it's internet now, right? Everything, even if you're radio, people put on internet. If you're on television, people put on internet. So internet has really absorbed all those ones. He went on to say something which is very, very important. The video is still the most important he said perhaps economy and all that, and the radio is still the most popular among the current media of the theater art. The cinema, of course, has the advantage of largeness. The cinema, of course, has the advantage of largeness. It is the larger than life. Cinema is larger than life, the big screen, the mainstream that people call it, okay? The big screen. It also has the advantage of internationality of all the media art. It is the closest to life. The largeness, a realism that the television cannot provide, we ensure the continuance of cinema in the 21st century. The fever that has gripped the world since the advent of cinema, we are not likely to recover from. Television will continue to be popular in the 21st century, especially as we are going to get more and more tired from long hours of work in our offices and factories, and we will need some form of relaxation when we get back home. It is not very likely that we will want to go out from our home to go and watch films on the big screen, at least not every day. Television has indeed its advantage. One of these advantages is that it has broken down the barrier of age and sex. Video is the latest arrival in the electronic media, of television and cinema theater art. And video has its own advantage as it's covering more and more of the old territories. Many of these professors, they have studied theater art. Sometimes they mingle the things together. Sometimes people seem to be confused. Don't be confused with that. I've explained that already. The difference between theater art and all that. So you don't get confused about that. The folk media and the popular theater were areas that I also gave some attention. And I said that if the folk media have been known and had been utilized since the 50s through 60s, it was in the 70s that the popular theater dimension of the folk media started to gain currency. And I believe it is within the interaction of the folk media and the mass media, with each as a catalyst to and as an antidote to the other, that the future lies in the 21st century, 21st century. Century. How do they pronounce it now? It's not century, it's century. It's something century, right? My teacher is not here today to teach me about this one again. I'm supposed not to forget the fun play. It's not century, it's century. It's pronounced one way, like that, all right? So, it also said that the potential of enrich of folk media and media art, we recommend both of them for all times. Professor Dapo Adelugba continues. I went on to discuss drama, and I discussed the four ideal of George Bernard Shaw in this regard, and the ascent of man to the heights through drama. Then I quoted Segun Akínbọ́lá about the future of theatre art, and Funmilayo Ajose Ajayi, Ajose Ajayi is a company name, okay, who asked it that although there are problems in the world, it seems that the world is shrinking, and that more and more people are getting to understand one another through interaction and interrelationships in the world theatre art. Is theatre art or are the theatre arts advancing? Yes, I argue finally in that lecture that, but not always at the same pace. Sometimes the advancement is rapid. Sometimes it seems to be crawling along at a very low pace. And I ended by saying that theatre art will continue to progress in its professional, academic, educational, amateur, and community axis. I love that. It will continue to grow. There is nothing you can do about that. It will continue to grow. And you know, one of the things is that in Nigeria, and that's why a lot of drama ministers who are supposed to really, really embrace the theatre in a very dynamic way are really, really deviating only to fame. I'm not saying we are the word of fame, but if you package your art very well, you discover that a lot of people will appreciate what you're doing, a lot of people will really celebrate what you're doing and all that. So we need to understand these things. You have to be progressive. Even you as a drama minister, you're watching me right now. Before I continue the next question, the next question, I only have 2 questions this morning. Like I said, I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, I don't want to say too much about it, so that we can get a whole lot of things, a whole lot of deal about it. But I will try as much as possible. Okay, all right. So we must advance academically, we must advance professionally, we must advance educationally. Whether you are just amateur, maybe you're just starting, maybe I just even know what to do. You just have to embrace this change. All right. So let's go to the next question. If we can hardly afford a computer, in most departments of our universities, including your Department of Theatre Art of the University of Ibadan, what hope is there to survive the challenge of the new millennium? That was there. Anyway, he answered, well, the department has made a proposal to the Vice Chancellor of the need for the department to be in tune with modernity. We certainly must have updated equipment. We must have updated equipment. That now is very compulsory. The department must continue to operate. Okay, it must update its equipment, and as you said, we do not work in isolation. We cannot even work in isolation. It's a collaboration. We don't work in isolation, we work in collaboration. All right, we have to live in a world which has gone the computer way, and our students and our undergraduates have got to look for jobs, and not only in Nigeria but in the wide world, in the whole wide world, and they should be sufficiently equipped to fit in. And that, I think, we are committed to achieve, even though our progress as far has been slow. And that's one thing. Your progress can be slow, but just make sure you are steady and you are moving. Just keep on moving the right direction. Next question. One wonder if one can be theater without an audience. Given the prevailing reality of a slack sense of security, most people are no longer willing to patronize the theater for security reasons, and largely because of the ever-improving and ambitious home video technology. All right, please go ahead and share the video. All right, so do we get it now? So let's go to that question. Ambitious home video technology. ubiquitous. All right, ambitious home video technology. And this is the answer. Wow, you two are amazing. This man is not only brilliant, he's very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. Well, may maybe I should illustrate with something close to my own life. When I returned from England in 1994, I heard about Wale Oguyemi's production for the NIB series of annual production of Langbodo. I was anxious to see it, so I went to Lagos, leaving my house unfortunately unlit, and it did not occur to me how very vulnerable we had all become. Of course, I could not come back after the performance of Langbodo that night. I had to return early the next morning. Most of my property in the sitting room, my clock, all the beautiful gifts I was given for my birthday in 1974 had been stolen. So the question of security is real. Most people now are not willing to leave their home in the evening. As you said, they could be killed on the way. Besides, they were not even sure if their property will be there when they return home. And it seems to me that this is a boom period for the video theater and the video makers generally. I would say that perhaps as part of our adjustment to the new reality, perhaps we should start to emphasize in our own work of technology for making good videos. Maybe if we were trained our students to become good maker of video, we would be doing them a lot of good, because if they could be as good in making of video as in the making of stage plays, perhaps for the next decade at least, their future is assured. So maybe we have to pay more attention to video technology and video creativity, because of many videos have been made in Nigeria today, whether they are poor, mediocre, average, in different degrees. They are being watched by the trapped audience. The audience which is trapped at home, they cannot go anywhere. And the video culture in Nigeria has become real. It is a real culture. Maybe we should adjust our training mode to attune to the development. That's why you see a lot of universities now, they don't just have the theater art department, they begin to have a theater and film art department. Some people have a dramatic department, dramatic art, and it becomes a whole lot of things that is happening now, because they discover that after being graduating, many of them cannot function only on stage. They can function only of them can perform on the stage or dance and all that, but they are not relevant to filmmaking. They study, but they cannot function well, and that's really a problem to them. And that's the beginning of this. Then let's get the question: Do you not think it will destroy the theater culture? How do you think theatricians will cope with this dilemma? Okay, and the man responded, I do not think so. I mean that we should explore the possibility of sustaining the theater culture. I was just saying that for the student we are training, if they are going to be having frustration in such a large measure as they now do, perhaps we should give them an alternative mode of creativity. And if they are good in making videos, that will be an alternative. And that is not to sell, and that is not to sell out. I do not believe that state culture should give way to home video culture. No. I do not believe in that kind of sellout. Indeed, what I was going to propose is that until the evening becomes safer, perhaps we should start to think of afternoon performances. After all, in early centuries of world culture, performances were given during the afternoons. So maybe we should start the thinking of afternoon performances like 3 to 6 or 4 to 7 p.m. Certain things we have to give way then, but certain things. So that's it. That's a contribution from Professor O.DASYLVA, and Adelugba responded by saying, but certain things might have given way to football. So the question now, I say there are certain things that people enjoy in theater production, like lighting and other visual effects, which the night facilitates and which gives pleasure to the audience. Adelugba responded, there must be concessions here and there. I do not think lighting is a big deal. Perhaps we have to add black traps all over the theater and darken the theater so that when audience are there could have been an atmosphere as close as evening or night as possible. Maybe you have to darken the theater with black trapping all over. Maybe we have done this in the film. Maybe we want to shoot night and we're in the daytime. So what we use window blinds or black trappings to cover the thing outside. and we cover it and it looks like night, so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. You don't wait till the following morning. In fact, I told people when I want to shoot night now, in those days we have to wait till 9 o'clock, 9 in the night, 8 in the night, or later in the night. But this time around, I tell people you can actually start your shooting of your night from 7 p.m. and you by 9 o'clock you are finished instead of waiting for 9. All right. Another question: this statement that is credited to you years ago seems to encapsulate the informing principle of your theoretical philosophy. Art fulfill our needs for purification, communal activity, interest, and social urge to commune. With the art, the purpose is to awaken us to human needs, present and future. That theater must be alive for the need of man, and suggest that framework. That's the quote from him. In the light of this, how will you define a good drama, a good theater, a good cast, a good audience, and a good production? Fantastic questions. Fantastic, brilliant questions. All right. And the man said, okay, we will start with good drama. All these things, if you look at it, it's like a course on its own. It's like a normal course. Those questions are their classwork on its own that I've been able to deal with. And I look at myself, okay, if we could do this theater, let me do this theater once and for all. By the time I begin to go to different dimensions of film, maybe at that time, the classic would not be maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, or 30 minutes every day. Do some practicals, go and shoot, get your camera, go and shoot, get your things, go and shoot, or go to your stage, go and do the drama, send the video link to me, let me watch what you have practiced. And that's what's going to be, because a lot of things we are putting in place this year that it's not going to be class as usual, but we want how to do the academic. When we finish, we know we cannot finish all the parts of academic, but if you look at it from the over 1 year, the part of academic is more what we have done over 1 year. So by the time we start practical, we're explaining some things, bringing some light, explaining some things to you, it should not be a big deal again because you have been used to it. So let me answer the question. Let me read the answer to the question that had been said. I said, well, okay, we will start with good drama. A good drama should have plenty of credible action. Credible actions, should have excitement, should have all the elements of suspense, all the things that will make audience stay. That is what a good drama should have. That is what the good drama should have. And in the light of what you call my philosophical premise, I imagine that quite apart from being very exciting in terms of action, that it should have something to say to us in a more permanent way about life, about mortality, about anxieties of man, about the future, about our society, about needs, and so on. So a good drama should not only be exciting at the level of action, it should be exciting at the level of theme. Yes, at the level of theme, structure, significance, meaning, import. And I think in the quotation you have been referred to, there is a lot of stress on meaning, significance, import. Well, by the way, there is an opportunity tomorrow at University of Ibadan, Trenchard Hall at University of Ibadan, tomorrow 10 a.m. Nigeria time. 10 a.m. Nigeria time. I will be there by the grace of God. Immediately I finish the class, or I go and do my class in that place, or after the class I will go. By the grace of God, I'll finish my class. I will start the class on time. I will start the class tomorrow like 9 or 9:30 anyhow. I will finish on time so that I can meet up. So you can be there. If a young filmmaker, you want to do a film and all that, I'm really excited about the something. I just come across it yesterday when I was strolling out with our son. And it was a very, very good thing. I felt that I shouldn't need to tell you. If you're in around Ibadan tomorrow, is a lot of things. Professor Igneous Ekwasi will be there. Ekwasi will be there, and that's a very, very big man on script writing. I love hearing this man over and over and over and over. If I've ever listened to this professor, Ingenious, you will always like him. Always like him, and some other professors and other people will be there tomorrow. So please, if you find your way in Ibadan, 10 a.m. Trenchard Hall tomorrow. They didn't pay me for it, but I just felt like it. I told you, any opportunity, I'm going to try it out. And after this class, I'm going to go to the place and tell people about the program tomorrow. It's going to be great and all that. So, and he said that about the exciting of the level, we should be excited at the level of team, structure, significance. Team, structure, significance. Who is writing? Write for me. Write out. Write it down. Write down. Yes, right. Team, structure, significance, meaning, import. And I think in the quotation you have just referred to, there is a lot of stress on meaning. on meaning, significance, import, and the meaning of life, the significance of art, impact, impact and art, how and when it reflects life, the meaning, the stress of the import, significance, import, the meaning of life, the significance of art, how and when it reflects life. That is when people are connected. That is where people are really connected to get something. And I will stop at this because I have very things so important. I will stop at this reading now. So how do you reflect life? Art should be meaningful, should be significant, and should lead us to a greater sense of purpose. What is the second thing it itemizes? A good theater. Well, I will take a good theater to be more and less what a good drama has occasioned. So that's, I told you, drama and theater have been interchangeable. I told you a lot of argument on this one so much. The only thing about theater that I would like to add is that it should provide meaningful entertainment and excitement for the audience, just like drama does. A good cast should be more or less a good representation of what dramatists had in mind in creating the character. The cast is not there mainly to reflect their own individual egos and personality. That's one of the things I've tell people. It's not don't play individualism, all right, individualistic thing, but to realize their assigned characters. And that is why someone like Sam Loco of blessed memory, to quote a local example, is always so exciting. Sam Loco, like a few other great players, tries to transform into each character, each role it takes. It doesn't merely give up on prototype. Sam Loco attempts to make the assigned character in all his dramas acceptable and vivid. Acceptable, even if it's one scene or two scenes, you will always remember Sam Loco. So I believe that to reflect a good drama and a good theater, the cast should should try to internalize their role. You got to internalize their role, and they should try to get into the character. They should try to get into the character. That's why you see the language, get into the character, being the character and all that they are representing to the audience. And that's where I'm going to stop this morning. Tomorrow we talk about good audience. We talk about other things by the grace of God. So those are the things you need to understand today. These are the things you need to understand and break, because all this theater thing, if you're studying theater, you're giving up on yourself because everybody's going to film. I think you should do maybe once in a year, festival of art, maybe once in a year a theatrical production, a theatrical thing. Once in a year, everybody will come all over the world to come and watch this thing you're doing. Don't give up on your dream. And a rich biblical base, powerful faith base, and redemptive message that will connect the whole world together. Before you know it, everybody will embrace that change. My name once again is Paul-Esupofo Oriade. Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday is 9:30 a.m. Nigeria time, and Saturday and Sunday is 9:30 p.m. respectively Nigeria time. Then on Saturdays, our interactive session, we have a question and all that. This year we are doing something very important this Saturday. Okay, can you explain to me the difference between brilliancy and somebody intelligent and somebody brilliant? So you tell me the difference between brilliancy and intelligence. So we're going to be talking about that this Saturday. Are you brilliant or are you intelligent? What's the difference? Are you brilliant and you're intelligent? What's the difference? So we're going to talk about that this Saturday by the grace of God. We're going to be talking about, that's the first thing this year. We're going to be talking about brilliancy and intelligence. All right, so you have to look at, oh, this person is intelligent, this person is brilliant. What connotes them? What makes them? So that's what we're going to be discussing on Saturday by the grace of God. So please, whatever dream God has given to you, please go and do something. Go and do something. Don't allow anything to stop you. Don't allow that dream, that book, that script, that drama, that film. Go and do it. Can you imagine we shot a short film, very short film, like 3 scenes or 4 scenes, 3 or 4 scenes, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 scenes, about 4 scenes on the first. And yesterday the film was released on YouTube. You know, you can imagine, and we even used phone to edit it. You understand? So those are the things you need to look at, and the Lord will bless us. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you. Please do come every day, and come meet me at that place for the information I want to give. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.